I'm a junior in high school, and I have been a member of the NAACP all my life. Born until 18 years old right now. I am a grandchild of an immigrant who came to this state with nothing and worked in the orange groves until he could build a better life. I'm a son of a mother who works 14-hour days to provide me and my family. I'm a student with learning differences who use supports and services provided by my IEP. I am, and young people like me are what keeps Governor DeSantis up at night, working to take back the rights and progress that has made it possible for all of us to thrive today. Don't be fooled. In DeSantis' world, I can't read a certain book about my culture. Elementary students need permission slips for Black History Month activities. And diversity, equity, and inclusion cannot exist in our schools. In his world, it doesn't matter that my mom's bill has more than doubled, or my friend's family can't afford to pay rent. As long as he get a kickback and campaign dollars from the electric companies and the insurance companies, it's okay. In his world, it doesn't matter if students like me with special needs get this, so that we can do our best. But this isn't his world, it's our reality. And if Governor DeSantis thinks that we're not going to tell our stories, he's wrong. He is not fooling us. This morning, in the spirit of those who sacrificed in 1964 for Freedom Summer and built Freedom Libraries, we are here to build with a new coalition of students, parents, activists, faith leaders, and national organizations, allies, and friends to take back our state and save our country. Today, we launch our Freedom Library Project. We launched this project today for all people, and will create community libraries across this state as we resist, teach, learn, and continue our fight. Just like those freedom riders, we know that even though we have a new enemy, the history and the story of these books teach young people just like me how to slay a dragon, just like Governor DeSantis. Thank you, President Randi and the American Federation of Teachers for giving us this important tool as we build the fight, book by book, to educate our communities, young and old, and bring DeSantis down. Thank you to our partners, the National Education Association, President Becky Pringles, Florida Education Association, Parents Together, and the other groups who are here today to carry this. Thank you to the bold, militant youth leaders of the NAACP Florida Youth and College Division for your bravery and showing up for justice in our schools and communities. And most importantly to me, thank you to my mentor, a leader who spent her entire career fighting so the students have freedom and right to learn in times just like this. It's my honor to introduce the president of the NAACP Florida State Conference and a chair of the NAACP's National Education Committee, Adora Obi-Nweze. Give her a round of applause. We have greetings from our long-standing partners in the fighting for our public education in Florida, the Florida Education Association. They are under attack like never before and are fighting daily in Tallahassee for teachers, students like me, and protecting education. Please welcome I'm a lifelong education support professional, Vice President of the FEA, Garen Cass, correct? Gronskas, sorry. And the President of the student. And we'd like to also introduce Ms. Adore stage. Please come up. Give her a round of applause. And the President of the student FEA, a student at FCU, and a future educator, Elena Ridgeby. Wait, is that correct? Okay. Ms. Adore. Is your mic working, Ms. Adore?
It is, I'm not. Good morning again. Good morning. This is perhaps one of the real points of my life. You have no idea what it's like to sit in a round with the presidents of AFT and NEA, the national presidents. Let me tell you all something. When I got out of college, I got a job. Isn't that something? I got a real job. I taught first grade in Washington, D.C. at Myrtilla Minor Elementary. And at that school, when I walked in the first day, guess who greeted me? My person who represented NEA. She was our NEA person in our school. And she talked about NEA. And I said, ooh, I want to be one of them. And so I gave her my money. And I went to work with NEA. But then my son got sick and I had to go home. Home was Miami, Florida. I got to Miami, Florida, and guess what I found? They didn't have no, I didn't have nothing to join. I had to join the Classroom Teachers Association. Classroom Teachers Association? Guess what? I didn't have no lunch hour. I used to be scared. And guess what? We didn't have no planning hour. I was like, oh goodness, what is this? This must be back in slavery, I said to myself. Self? Something wrong here. And guess what else? We got paid once a month. Oh, yes. And so I joined the Classroom Teachers Association, and we decided we wanted us a union. And guess what? The Florida legislature said, you go on a walkout, you can never do it again. And to this day, they can't do it. But when I went on the walkout, no lunch break, no planning break, no benefits at all. And we didn't make much money. I made $4,000 a year. And when I went on the walkout, I was out for a month with thousands of other teachers who went with me. And guess what? I got a check for And so you see, FT now, based me and many others who joined us. And so now, we got us a union. Yes, we do. We got unions going on. We got NEA and AFT. And the presidents of where? Right here in this room. They're both my presidents. I'm a union man and a union woman. I know union men. and I'm a union woman. And I want you to know the rest of my life that I breathe, I'm a union. And I'm also a teacher. And I say that because even though I have had 7 administrative positions and promotions in the school district, I will always be a teacher. Every day I wake up, I'm teaching. I'm gonna always teach. I'm gonna fight for teachers. And I want us to fight for them. They don't have breaks. They don't have enough money. Some of them have to go and get 2 and 3 jobs. Some of them can't go to church or go anywhere else they want to go because they got to work to pay for the roof on their heads, to pay for their children. And we sit here and allow them to get dirt low salaries. Isn't that sad? It's not far from $4,000. It's not $14 I got for the month. It's the same analogy if you took their salary right now. Y'all just don't know what teachers go through. They're leaving the classrooms because they got to leave. They got to eat. They can't have nobody giving them so much work to do that they got to use their salary money to still buy supplies. Teachers, 2023, I'm telling y'all, this is one fight that you ought to open your arms, open your pocketbooks, open everything you got, and demand that teachers get equal treatment. You gotta demand it. Nobody's gonna do it for you. People in this country don't like education. Don't let them tell you they like it because they don't. They don't show it. When you don't show it, you don't like it. When you don't use it, you don't like it. When you don't provide for it, you don't like it. And when unions like we have, they're working night and day for us to have people who will actually teach our children. They're the only ones who can, because they know there is no choice for us in this country in 2023. And so this movement today is a movement of everything within us to make sure that this governor never gets back in public office again. Never. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't need it. He's rich. He needs to go home. And we need to help pack him up to do so.
Boy, is it hard to follow Miss Adora Nuizi. You are a hero to all of us today in education. We stand on your shoulders for the 1968 walkout. We have talked about this in all of our meetings, that if it wasn't for those who walked out, quit their job in 1968, and I'm a proud first grader of 1969 in Port St. Lucie. If it wasn't for those who walked out, we would not have it in the Constitution that we have collective bargaining agreements, that we have the right to have that collective bargaining, that negotiations, if it wasn't for all of you. And I say thank you, ma'am. My name is Carol Baranskis. I'm an education staff professional and an ESC paraprofessional in St. Johns County before I became the Secretary-Treasurer of the Florida Education Association, and now so on behalf of my president, Andrew Spar, and our Secretary-Treasurer, Randi Riley, I want to say thank you for the invite and thank you for being here and doing this incredible work. As I look at these kids and I think of what is happening in Tallahassee, It was brought to my attention this week that literally the freedoms, the rights that I had in elementary, middle, and high school, you don't even know. The rights have been taken away from you. The right to free speech at the Capitol, the right to protest, the right to read what you want to read, a book that looks like you, that looks like your family, reflects who you are, being taken away from you. Boys and girls, I need you to work for what you want in school. AP African American Studies. How dare this government tell us what we can and cannot teach in the secondary colleges and universities of this state. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. Fight for your rights. We're working really hard and we're trying really hard in Tallahassee to fight for you, but as been pointed out, we are outnumbered. They have gerrymandered us out of seats. We are the minority of minorities in the House and the Senate. And I gotta tell you, I've come completely off my speech here. I was so inspired by you. We are working hard to show the difference of what we want for all of you to what the lawmakers and the governor want. So this week, I want to just end with this. Oh, and I do want to welcome, obviously, my wonderful national presidents. We are a merged state since 2000, and my president of the National Education Association, Ms. Becky Pringle, and the amazing president of the American Federation of Teachers, Ms. Randi Weingarten. Thank you for being here and talking about this most important conversation on public education, because public education is again under attack. 25 years they have been in charge. There is no one that they have not created. So we need to fix them, and by fixing them, we need to be heard. So I want to let you know what we did on Tuesday. We had the Great American Read-In. The books that you see lining the here, we had 25,000 of them. And they were given away for free. Books on diversity, inclusion, and equity. They were whipped off the tables. They were put in backpacks and bags and taken home because the children can't get them in the schools, but they got them for free. The American Federation of Teachers, the National Association book, all of our supporters and community members, the turnout was phenomenal. And I gotta tell you, what was really funny was watching the lawmakers and their aides standing in those lines to pick up those books on diversity and equity. So I want to say thank you. I am so proud to be here. It's an honor. And I would like to introduce to you our FEA, our Florida Education Association student president, Alana Rigby.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be standing in front of all of you today. I want to first thank you for your unwavering dedication to the work. Thank you, President Adora Obi-Nweze, for inviting me here to be a part of this moment as we prepare to show the country that we will not be fooled by bad policy. I am a product of public education, and without standing here before you today. My earliest memories involve me wanting to become a teacher and teaching my stuffed animals. I have always dreamt of being a teacher. And now that I am completing my internship in a second grade classroom and will be graduating in May with my master's, I am elated to enter the classroom in August. Although I am thrilled to be finally living my dream, I am not oblivious to the state of education. In this country and in this state, we have been faced with tumultuous times, but we are also in a unique position to finally get it right. The education system was never designed for all students to succeed. So as we fight for our lives and careers, we will also fight to reform education to something it was never designed to be, equitably just for all students. Our students and the youth keep us grounded in this work, reminding us that we are not only fighting for ourselves, but for them behind us. Many of us are here now because we understand that we cannot fight for education without seeking justice for Black lives. Some of us chose activism as we watched injustice after injustice and felt the call to do something. But for some of us, the world chose for us. We did not watch injustice happen, but we felt the injustice firsthand as we experienced it and throughout our lives. We had no other choice but to become fierce activists. As we watched injustice after injustice, Nobel Peace Prize winner Desmond Tutu said, "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor." This statement could not be more true. This statement could not be more true today than it was over a decade ago. Whatever may have led you to this fight, we are glad to have you fight alongside us as we seek justice and equity. The ballot box is where our voices are the loudest, and the youth are no stranger to voting. The Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement estimated that 27% of youth 18 to 29 casted a ballot in our 2022 elections, making this midterm election with the second highest youth voter turnout in almost 3 decades. During the 2020 president elections, 54% of our youth here in Florida turned out, increasing by over 10% in the previous presidential election. Make no mistake, the youth get it, and with all of our help, we'll continue to turn out and remind the country and this state that we are the future. High school and college students alike made their voices heard then in 2018 and are making sure their voices are heard again now as we still experience some of the same issues. As our state lawmakers continue to introduce bad policies that seek to destroy and harm our communities, the youth will not watch and wait our turn, but will hold them accountable at every chance they get. Last year, high school students across the state walked out of their schools, some even heading to the state capitol building to protest House Bill 1557, which is more commonly known as the Don't Say Gay bill. High school students have never been scared to have their voices heard and will continue to do so throughout this year's legislative session. Stand for Freedom Florida, a youth activism group, mobilized over 5,000 members recently walking out on college campuses across the state. This student group protested the harmful policies that we have seen coming out of Tallahassee. Aspiring educators of the Student Florida Education Association from across the state joined them in this walkout, understanding that we must all fight to win. From different campuses, they walked out of their classes and met with other organizations to protest the attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, and academic freedom. As president of Student FEA, one of my main focuses when my term began was to enact action that would lead to change and was not just performative. As my term comes to an end this August, I am proud to say we did just that. Student FEA has made a lasting impact on their college campuses and communities. One chapter has begun an annual school supply drive to provide books, schools, snacks, and toiletries to a Title I school in Tallahassee that predominantly serves Black students in the poorest zip code in the state. We have partnered with Miami-Dade County Public Schools to create and hold a tutoring program during the pandemic and after that supported third grade students that were in danger of being retained. I can proudly say that the majority of the students in the tutoring program advanced to the next grade. Student FEA has sponsored Little Free Libraries across the state to help fill the literacy gap we too often see with our Black students. Reading is fundamental, and knowing this, we recently joined FEA's Florida Read-In and helped support giveaway 20,000 books. Working together, we have made lasting impacts on our community. We will not grow weary in this fight, only stronger and more united. Thank you.
Ready to go. Ready to go. Somewhere. Somehow. Right here. You are not fooling us. Before we start this kickoff, I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Chairman Russell.
Good morning again. Good morning. Before I make a few brief remarks, I want to bring to the podium now, to the stage, our panelists for this Freedom Library Town Hall. Karen Cooper. Karen here? Or is it Kristen? I can't see without my glasses. Let me put my glasses on. Kristen. Come on up. Have a seat. Ladera Royal. President Becky Pringle. Aileen Areza. And you correct me when you get up here and get that right. And President Randi Weingarten.
Hi, baby.
All right. Well, that would work, but it doesn't matter. Just as long as you leave me a seat. All right. We're here to launch this Freedom Library Town Hall. We're here to, you've heard a lot this morning, quite frankly. But what you need to understand is that we in this room, all of us are leaders. We have to be leaders. If you're in this room, you have to be a leader. You have to understand that public policy dictates how you will live the rest of your life. Public policy will dictate the basic educational structure that will provide the foundation for your leadership the rest of your life. Our leaders in the state of us that this is where woke goes to die. Let me help you to understand that being woke means being aware. It means understanding what's going on, why it's going on, and what you have to do if what's going on is negative in terms of your future advancement. Being woke means being awake. Means that you're not dead. You're not asleep. You're not missing what's happening in the world. Being woke means that you are able to take advantage of the experience of others, learn from it, and then use it. Use it for the advancement of yourself, your family, and your communities. So, this morning, welcome to Florida, the state where common sense has gone to die. Welcome to the NAACP. Welcome to the leadership of this state, the real leadership of this state, who are very much woke and who understand that it is on their shoulders that the future stands. So welcome to this town hall meeting. Going to have opening remarks now from our panelists. Then we're going to get into a discussion. Going to begin with Kristen.
Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world." Hi, my name is Kristen Cooper, and I'm an 11th grader that attends the Young Developmental Research School in Alachua County. I'm on the varsity basketball team. I'm an ambassador scout with Girl Scouts of America. I'm a member of the National Achievers Society, as well as a member of the National Society of High School Scholars. I'm president of the Alachua County branch of the NAACP Youth Council. I joined NAACP to make a difference in my community. I want to tell you a little bit about my story and how Ron DeSantis is affecting my life. PK Young is an extension of the University of Florida. We currently have a diverse library and extensive resources, but Ron DeSantis is trying his darndest to take this away from us. He's trying to take away our access to our resources, our books, our way of life, and how we even just interact with each other on basis. Currently, we had an opportunity to read about the life of Frederick Douglass. This book sparked real conversation about his life, his legacy, and about history, African American history to be specific. I would not have this opportunity if books like this were banned across all the boards. Limiting my access to African American books makes me feel like this is a personal attack against history of one race. It is disparaging and frustrating to go backwards when we've gone so much forward. We've made extensive strides, and every chance it seems like we go forward, we take 2 steps back. The Freedom Library Project Town Hall meeting gives us the opportunity to express the Black history, about why Black history is important, and about why we are taking strides to make sure communities have books about our histories. I am reminded that history doesn't know names, nor does it choose race, gender, or sides. Instead, history produces facts. Our history is a part of our past. It is present and is a part of our future. Ron DeSantis, you are not fooling us.
All right. Ladara.
I'm going to try to play it real nice since my national leadership is here and my state leadership is here. So I have to kind of behave myself. My name is Ladara Royal. I am an educator here in Orange County Public Schools here in Orlando. I do serve in our high schools and school leadership. My job has been high school dean, 12th grade graduation coach, and more specifically, I am a Minority Achievement Office Coordinator. One of my jobs is to ensure that our minority and underrepresented students are matriculated to not just colleges, but to some of our top schools in the country. I mean, that is my work that I try to do every day. I was raised, I guess, or suppose, in a middle class, upper middle class family in the state of Virginia. College was not an option. Those of you who were raised in a black, three things that we were going to do. You're either going to go into education, health, or the military. There was no choice, right? Those three things, there was no option. So I didn't grow up wondering or now if I was going to be educated. I decided to actually make education, which is a rarity these days. You do not find teachers wanting or who came into the field as a major in education. I knew it was my calling. Specifically, most of my principals were white. I came into my calling on wanting to help our minority students, not from a black or a principal or school administrator. It was actually white principals who had some sense, who instilled into me, you are here for a reason. Cry loud and spare not. That was what a white principal told me. Make sure you are there for those who are voiceless. 28, I relocated to Florida, here in Orlando, precisely. When I got here, I said, oh my God, what did I walk into? This is absolutely insane. This was before Ron DeSantis. And I'm going to be brief, but I want you to know the climate of what it was before this even came about. This work and this fight is most important. Our students, our black students, our minority students, our Hispanic students were already experiencing racism and bias and microaggression before Ron DeSantis. And we were quiet. We didn't go to the school board meetings. We didn't go and visit the schools and the PTA meetings. And I know we're working 1, 2, and 3 jobs, but if our children, if our communities are that important, we'll call in. Because we could call in for a vacation, we could call in for a gathering, we could call in for a wedding, but we can't call in for our students, for our children, for our community. We got to show up. And so I was already dealing with that. I have never experienced racism and microaggression in my life. I tell you the truth, in my life, until I came to Florida. That says a lot. But I am determined that you're not going to put me into the box. Me as a black male educator, we can do more than just teach the bottom 25. We can teach the AP classes. We can teach the honors classes too. We can do more than just teach in the Title I schools. And yes, we are needed in Title I. But just as much as I can teach in Title I can teach in the suburbs. Because we're needed there too. Our voices, their representation, are needed there too. So I stand each and every day. When I go into leadership meetings, they pass policies in our schools that disenfranchise us. I speak up. I say, oh, no, we ain't doing that. They don't like me. They microaggress against me. They get biased against me, but I don't care. Okay. And I'm ready to take my seat. I promise you. But Ron DeSantis says that the reason why he's passing these bills is because he don't want to see indoctrination in our schools. But little does he know that our high school students already been reading. They've already been researching. They already know what he's doing. When students come into our office, my face is a black male educator, and they ask me, how can he do this? Isn't this against the law? I thought this ended through the civil rights movement. going to bring it. And not only are we going to protest, not only are we going to set in, amen, but we are going to march, and we're going to make noise, and we're going to stand up and do what you got to do. Because I'm not stopping.
Must have been some preachers in the royal family. For opening remarks, it is my pleasure to introduce to the Florida NAACP, Becky Pringle, President of the National Education Association.
Madam President.
Yeah, Madam President. Oh my goodness, give it up again for our young folks out there. Ooh, we got this, don't we? We got this. Thank you so much for the invitation to be with you here this morning. Can I just take a moment?
Yes.
I need to just look at you. You look fabulous. You look powerful. You are ready, aren't you, Florida? Yes, you are. I am so honored to be here represent. I'm an 8th grade science teacher, middle school, all my life, yeah. And I am honored to represent the 3 million members of the National Education Association, joining you here today in solidarity because not only do we have to make sure we take care of our babies here in Florida, clearly what happens in Florida ain't staying in Florida. Yeah, so you are not just fighting for the folks in the borders of this state, you are fighting for our children all across this country. So I need to stop you, I see you, and you are not alone. Of course, I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to greet our national president, my good friend Derek, but I know that he is doing God's work across this country and leading the NAACP and continuing its legacy of fearless strength and resilience that has prepared you for what now must be resistance. That's where we are. Yeah, that's where we are. I am so honored to lead in this moment with a fierce union activist, Miss Randi over there. Yeah. And what can I say about Miss Adora? Yeah. You gonna help him pack his bags, Miss Adora? Yes, ma'am. I know you are. Thank you. Always being a teacher. Thank you for your fierce activism. Thank you. Thank you for being a proud union member. Thank you for always standing up and showing out. Give it up for Miss Adora. And Russell, oh, there you are. Yeah, that's what you are. I got your back. You got my back, yeah. Thank you so very much for all you do and for being here. I'm so glad to be joined by our FEA leader, Miss Carol, and of course our young one, Miss Alana. Yeah, give it up for them again. So everyone in this room understands the moment we are in. We know the full meaning of, yeah, that's right, Dr. King's phrase, we do. We know the full meaning of the phrase he often used when he talked about the outrage he felt when his community or when his, what he called a moral injury. He used this phrase, righteous indignation. Righteous indignation. We are disgusted and we are outraged. But let me tell you something, Florida.
We can't just be angry. We have to organize. We can't just be angry. We have to unite. We can't just be angry. We have to channel that anger into collaborative and comprehensive and action to beat back these laws that are having this chilling effect on what we can teach and what our students can learn. Woke laws that don't allow students to study the way race and racism have impacted America's legal and every one of its social systems. Don't say gay bills that have our students afraid to be their authentic selves and educators afraid to support them. For as long as it takes, we must and we will join our voices together to demand truth and literacy and justice for every student, every student, every student, everyone. That's what we will do. We must and we will stand fearlessly against hatred and a hateful and a spiteful and a dangerous governor who, like too many others, have focused on destroying this state and our nation's public schools, destroying our communities and our students' right to the future they deserve. We and we will fight every politician and every pundit who uses their position or their platform to spew hate and lies and exclusion. With righteous indignation, we must and we will fight money grubbing. That's what they are. Who are seeking to limit our students' ability to develop those critical thinking and collaborative problem-solving skills, all in an effort to cripple our democracy and get unfettered power. A few weeks ago, I was here in Florida and I met with Elijah and Juliet and Victoria. Their answer to the question, how does the ban on AP African American Studies impact you students, was cogent and eloquent and passionate, and Adora reminded me of how amazing students are, right? As two black students and one white student described the loss of the opportunity to learn about themselves and each other, I knew they reflected what was the best of America. Our beautiful diversity, our unwavering determination, our striving always to be better. These brilliant students, they know the importance of the right to see themselves in the books they read and the right to create that window so our students can see each other. That is why the NEA is a proud partner with the NAACP on its freedom libraries. The historic significance of this name is not lost on all of us gathered in this room today, right? NEA has committed to the distribution of 2,500 books in 25 black communities all across the state of Florida. These books represent truth, and we are proud to join the band author of the 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah-Jones, in believing that if we are truly a nation, the truth, and she's right, the truth is a beacon leading us toward the future. Standing in truth We will lift our voices against tyranny and oppression, standing in truth. We will use our power to protect our children and defend our... I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. Let us all embrace those words of warrior poet Audre Lorde as we do what we must. Deliberate and unafraid, let us continue to answer the call to protect the freedom to learn and the freedom to teach. Deliberate and unafraid, we will demand every student is seen and supported and every is respected for the professional they are. Deliberate and unafraid, we will continue the fight for racial and social justice until this country lives up to its promise. We the people, we the people, we the people, all of us deserve the right to be truly free. Standing in our truth together, we will fight for what we know is right. Ms. Adora, we will do that. Why? Because we know our babies depending on us to be worthy of them. Thank you so very much for leading this fight, standing in your truth and in your power, being deliberate and unafraid. Thank you.
Becky, another preacher has stepped forward today. All right, a Florida State Conference of NAACP branches of long-standing. Becky is one of those, but we always look around for Randi when we need somebody to raise a little hell. She has supported us over a number of issues, and we are pleased that she is here with us today. Randi Weingarten, President of the American Federation of Teachers.
Okay, how do I follow that? So, and I'm glad that we're joined also by this amazing parents group called Parents Together. And Aileen, thank you for being here. They are working and ensuring that parental voice of inclusion, of opportunity, as opposed to what we have seen that creates the banning of books, is actually a voice that is out there, and thank you very much. You know, it's amazing to be this group of people. All of you, the kids who are bored already. Yeah. An 11th grader. We want to make sure you have your dreams not only in front of you, but seizing them. A teacher who is dealing with the oppression every single day in Orange County and still has that kind of fire in your belly and willing to do it. Becky and I spend a lot of time these days with each other and traveling the country. One of us. She a science teacher, me an AP government teacher from Brooklyn, New York, Clara Barton High School for the health professions, my kids, all all of whom were black and brown, won debate competitions against suburban high schools. You don't tell me that we shouldn't have AP Gov and AP African American Studies. Give me a break. All of us are so angry because of what's going on. The march should be forward. I have notes, but I'm not going to read them. The march forward for opportunity and justice. It shouldn't be one step forward and two steps backward. We shouldn't have to be dealing with a backlash, as Reverend Barber, Bishop Barber talks about. A backlash after we had the first African-American president. You understand? We understand what this is about. You know that. I know that. But the key for all of us right now, we've talked about it, but you said it. Look, I happen to be in DeSantis' book. Why do I get disparaged by DeSantis or Pompeo? Why? Why was I in his book? Because we had the audacity to bring a lawsuit to try to make sure that when schools were open in of COVID, they were safe. There was good ventilation. That you had the same opportunities as kids who were in private schools who had all this testing and all these masks. And he had the audacity to blame us because we wanted to make sure that our kids, all kids, and all teachers were safe. And what does he do? Everybody's talked about it already. But think about it, and I think about it as this high school social studies teacher. I went back, frankly, curriculum that I taught in the 1990s. Dusted them off in my basement in nice little binders because I'm still not a digital native. And I started flipping through the pages. Virtually everything in my curriculum for my 11th graders would be banned right now in Florida. And that was from the 1990s. So what is it that we're trying to do, and why NEA and we giving out books, which is a piece of action? What is it? What is I as a, what is Dora as a teacher? What is Adora as a teacher do? What do we do? And this is where I want to talk to all the kids who are really bored right now. What do we do? What do we do? This is what we do. What we do. We want you to stand up strong. We want you to be able to compete with anybody you want to compete with. We want you to be able to critically think, analyze, and when somebody says you ain't good, you stand up and you run circles around. That is what we do as teachers. That is who we are. Thank you. And I was using my teacher voice. And one of the reasons we give out books, think about it, as they ban books, NEA just said 25 communities, 2,500 books. You have 5,000 books here from the AFT, and there's another 5,000 coming. And as part of 1 million books that we gave away last year, as they were banning books, we're giving books away. This year, as they're banning books, we're giving books away. Because how do we become trailblazers for justice if we don't make sure that people have the knowledge? And so, I'm forgetting about all you adults in the room. I just want to talk to the kids. There's a saying from Isaiah. Now, you don't expect me to quote Isaiah. But I happen to be married to a rabbi, so I know a little bit of this. We won't be able to do everything, but all of us can do something. And the most important thing I'm asking all of you, you came in talking about power, right? You gotta promise the adults in the room that you're not giving up, that you're gonna do something. Just like you walked into this room talking about power, are you gonna do something? Yes. Are you gonna do something? Yes. Are you gonna take a book and read? Yes. Are you gonna take a book and learn? Yes. Are you gonna let Ron DeSantis seize knowledge and power away from you? No. I didn't hear you. Are you gonna let him seize knowledge and power away from you? No. Fight regardless of what happens this legislative session? Yes. Are we gonna fight for freedom like our forefathers and foremothers fought for freedom? Yes. Are we gonna go backwards or are we gonna go forward? Forward. Did I hear you? Are we gonna go backwards or are we gonna go forward? Forward. What'd you say? Forward. Okay. So, out of this room today, are we gonna create a community of drum majors that march forward for freedom, freedom to learn, freedom to teach, opportunity for all?
Put that one over there. Hang on to it.
And I'll take my notes. Sorry.
Thank you. We've got young folks in the room. We've got teachers in the room. Now it's time to hear from a parent. So, Aileen, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I don't know how to follow both of those. So inspired and grateful to be here today and to share the stage with these amazing folks. My name is Aileen Arriaza, and I am the executive director of a group called Parents Together. We have 3 million parents across the country who just want the best for their kids, like all parents do. And I am a mom. I have 2 sons, an 8th grader and a 5th grader, and I also just want the best for them. All I think about is their future. And I'm here as a mom and on behalf of parents to say that book bans and curriculum censorship and bullying kids for being who they are, that's not what parents want. It's not okay. At Parents Together, we are in touch with parents all over the country. We're talking to them all the time. We do national polling. We have individual conversations with parents, and what we hear over and over again is that parents want their kids to have the freedom to learn. Parents want their kids to be able to have access to reflect who they are, that tell stories that are diverse, with diverse characters, with diverse experiences. I was talking to a mom recently who said to me, no parent is at home worried that their kid is not going to come home one day because they read a book about a gay penguin. Parents are worried about. Parents want their kids to be safe in school, and we want our kids to and our schools to have the resources and the funding that they need so that their kids can be taken care of, and so that they can receive the education they deserve. All these things that DeSantis is doing, the book bans, the curriculum censorship, it's all an effort to distract us from the things that matter, to distract parents from the things that we really care about, to divide us amongst ourselves, and to divide parents from teachers. But I have to say, he is not fooling us, because when we talk to parents, whatever we hear is that we love our teachers, we love our students' teachers, we trust them. And I personally, as a mom, have there's no one I trust more to care for and educate my children and have their best interests at heart than their teachers. This became really clear to me during the pandemic. I was home trying to do virtual school with my third grader, and it was hard. He was crying, and he was frustrated, and he kept yelling at me, "You're not my teacher!" And I was so frustrated. I was crying too, and in a moment of desperation, I texted second grade teacher from the year before because that's what, hey, if you need anything. And I did, and she immediately called me up and she says, "Put Paolo on the phone." And I give the phone to Paolo, and Paolo, I don't know what she says to him. I don't know what kind of magic or sorcery she performs over the phone. But that child was calm and collected and ready to have that conversation with his teacher. And I was just thinking, if a teacher can do this over the phone in the middle of a global pandemic, what can they do in a classroom where they feel safe, where they have the resources they need, and where politicians are not getting in their way? And so all this stuff DeSantis is doing, which he's saying, oh, he's on the side of parents' rights, he's not fooling us. That's not true. This is not what parents want. Our schools should not be political battlegrounds. Our children should not be used as political pawns. This is not what parents, really important to me as a mom, as a parent advocate, but also personally. I was born in Cuba. My family immigrated and we lived here in Florida for a few years, but we first immigrated here from Cuba in the early 90s. I was 9 years old. And I remember going to school in Cuba where my classroom was constantly a political battleground. And I was told that I had to go to rallies for Fidel Castro. And I loved to read as a child and had very limited access to books because I lived in a country that censored books, that banned books constantly. And I remember coming here to Florida, to my first elementary school that I attended, walking into that school's library and feeling amazed at how many books I had access to and feeling so grateful. I remember going home and saying to my mom, I took out this book, it's the first in a series of 50, and I'm gonna read all of them, and I was so excited. And now, to see empty books in classrooms here, and to think that our children don't have access to books because politicians are standing in the way and they are meddling in our classrooms, it is enraging and infuriating and unconscionable, and it is not okay. And we parents know that we will not allow it. Our kids deserve better than that. Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions for our panel, and I'm going to sort of divide it up. You've all talked about the impact and what you see going on with respect to the policies that are being promulgated here in the state. So, of the policies being discussed in the state of Florida, what happens if they go unchecked?
So, I think, it's, a lot of us will say, well, this will show up in other states, and it already is. But I actually want to take it from a different perspective. Take three of the policies, one which we have not talked about yet today, which is vouchers. $8,000 unlimited voucher for anybody who wants it. Actually means $4 billion out of the school systems in Florida. So essentially that means that everything that is available even right now in schooling will not be available. What does that do in terms of a system of common schools and a system of public education? It eviscerates it. It's number one. Number two, and a guy by the name of Christopher Rufo, who is now the head of the trustee for New College, he told us what they are doing. And he already has said he's going to sue me if I don't get his quotes exactly right. So it's words to this effect. He did, when he did, by the way, we sent him a lawyer's letter back and said, bring it on, and we're going to do all sorts of discovery, and he hasn't sued us yet. Because just like these two next to me, if we show that we're scared, how does anyone else stand up? And I think you're hearing that from this whole time. But what he said was, to create universal vouchers, you need universal distrust. Words to that effect. So believe them when they tell us, right? So what they are trying to do is they will throw anything at the wall if they think it's going to be used for division. CRT, woke. Literally, you're saying that the Silicon Valley Bank went under? It went under because of greed, not because of DEI. But it's all a matter of that will create that distrust. But the last thing, which I would say is the most venal, is this displacement of knowledge. And for those of us who teach, and that's part of the reason I went to talk to the kids here, context. We need to help kids learn conflict and conflict resolution, not conflict, but how to resolve conflict, critical thinking, problem solving. You're going to all be able to use ChatGPT to figure out what the facts are. Just like a calculator. It may not happen this year, may happen. That is what our job is for all of these young people. And so what I worry about more than anything else is that as you are in school, if we don't do the story that I lead about your kid, if we don't help you create confidence, critical thinking, problem solving, and a sense that you can seize the world like you have, that's what I worry about the most in terms of what happens to this generation of kids, particularly right after COVID.
So, yes, and I would just add this. As I said before, you know that what's happening here in Florida, to your point, that it's a national issue. It's a national issue not only in our red states. This is not about that. It's in every state in this country. And the implications, I think the best example I can give you right in this moment, because it's just happened in Texas, is their lieutenant governor and their governor either working with legislature to pass laws that prohibited not only taking DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion into account when hiring. Now we know what that's going to mean in terms of the progress of this country. That we will no longer be able to create the kind of diverse and they were targeting universities, and we talked a lot of K-12, but I'm going to just use this example from the higher education to answer your question. So not only are they not allowed to use diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring, but listen to this. This is where it gets, for those of us that have been on this earth for a minute, like me, this is where you think to yourself, what decade am I in? Because it went this far. That they also could not have diversity, equity, and inclusion offices in colleges and universities. And if they had anyone in that college and university who was teaching anything about that, their names would be put on a list. What's happening? Their names would be put on a list, and the colleges and universities, public colleges and universities in Texas, would not be allowed to hire anyone on that list. I don't know about you, but that's not what democracy is. And what country are we in? And so that, we've used the phrase chilling effect, but it is so much more than that. It's already happening. We're already seeing books being grabbed off the shelves right here in Florida. Books, by the way, that educators bought. Right? Being taken off the shelf, being ripped out of children's hands as they're giving book reports. We're already seeing students going into college and not having access to courses about all of the people who inhabit this country and not being able to have those high-level conversations. That's happening right now. So the implications nationwide cannot be, they can't be underestimated. But I want to say this too, and this is not probably at the heart of your question, but the other implication is that this is overreach now. Because you see these young people here, they're just not gathering here in Florida. They're gathered all over you see this parent here who is standing up with her bad self? Children. With her bad self? That's happening all over this country too. That people are leaning into their hope right now, they're leaning into their power right now, and that is also taking root all over this country.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a lot of both said, and everywhere they're trying to frame this as a parents' right movement, which is absolutely not true, and it is not what parents are saying. But they're doing this in a really vague way. They're saying parents want to be heard. Parents should be able to know what their kids are learning. That's always been true. Parents have always been heard. Parents have always been able to know what they're learning, and it is just a strategy to try to divide parents and pit them against teachers, and try to instill fear in parents, and try to distract parents from thinking about, oh, what I really need is for my kids to be safe, or what I really need is for my schools to be resourced, or even, I need to be able to take a sick day when my kid is sick. I can stay home with them, or I need to be able to buy my school supplies. These are things that actually make a difference to parents. And they don't want us to think about that. They want us to get all worked up and afraid about books that are helping our children solve conflict, learn about them, see themselves reflected, learn about others. But like you said, they're not fooling us. Parents all over the country are realizing this, are coming together, are standing up against this, and we're gonna fight back.
All right. So, Kristen and Ladara, you talked about this in your remarks, but I want you to bring it home a little closer. What's all this crap doing in the classroom? What are you feeling in the classroom? Kristen?
It sparked a lot of discussion in my class. We've had it since the beginning of the year. All my classmates are worried about what we'll be able to read, how we'll be able to get it, and how we'll be able to learn about it in the future for the following students coming behind us. We had the opportunity, like I said earlier, to read Frederick Douglass last unit. And before that, in 10th grade, we had the opportunity opportunity to read about Nelson Mandela or Michelle Obama and many other world leaders in our classroom, because we got to choose a book on a table and decide to read that for however long we wanted to, or to do it again and again. But our book system is already uploaded because we're tied to UF. So our librarian already has to ask you, is this okay to have a library? And because of Ron DeSantis' laws that he's trying to pass, our librarian has to go about it in a roundabout way to even have the diversity that we have right now. And with its passing, all of that's already uploaded will be immediately taken away. So we won't get the opportunity to look at those books again. It's disheartening because we're all so frustrated, because our school's a research school. So we're essentially guinea pigs for different curriculums for other schools in our region. And because different stuff are tried out on us, different opportunities to see different things. But in that opportunity, our opportunity is going to be so much more taken away from us. And it's aggravating, it's disheartening, and it makes us so angry because some people don't know how to advocate for themselves. And so Alex and I have been sharing about NAACP and what we've been doing and about how to outreach, but sometimes you don't know the contribution you have on people until you see it in other aspects. It sparked so much more conversation. We had our Black Money Matters group go to a Black expo. West, a teacher from UF, a professor from UF who teaches African American studies about how do we know that we're having a good teacher in this subject? How do we know to get more information on this subject? Because even with the teachers we have, it's not being taught properly. And that's where our concern comes in from different aspects of different teachers. Because even with the teachers we have, sometimes they're not trained properly because they aren't funded. So then the students aren't learning to their full capacity, and we don't know what's going to look like in 5 years. We don't know what's going to look like in 10 years. We don't know how it affects our siblings, our families in the future. And that's frightening for many people.
Child shall lead you. Ladar.
I would like to bring up three different points so you can see where we are at, and as these bills come into reality, what we're going to deal with in the schools directly. One, we must recognize that what they are doing, we may call them ignorant or they do not know, but they know exactly what they are doing, and I'll tell you why. Each state has to report to the federal government what they are doing to close achievement gaps and into college or university or secondary options. You understand that? In that, they have to break down African American, Hispanic, underrepresented, and so forth. ESC, right? ESOL students, that has to be reported. So without the work of diversity, inclusion, and there is no way that we close achievement gaps in our inner city and urban school districts. Do you understand that? That has to be taught. Again, I majored in education. One of my courses was how to teach diverse populations. Research, this is how you know that they did not want us to make it. Research shows in order for us to increase success with students of color, we must have materials and instruction that looks like them. That's research, scientifically proven. So if they are taking that away, they are saying they do not want us to be literate, to know how to do math, to go into STEM careers, to be the next doctors or lawyers. Because we will not have that exposure. Do you know how many workshops I have led where I had to teach my non-colored counterparts, person of color counterparts, who may say, I don't know how to teach black children or Hispanic children. And they don't mean it from a racist standpoint. They just don't know, right? So now, if we take diversity and inclusion out of the school system, how are they going to know how to teach our black, Afro-Latino, Afro-Hispanic, and Hispanic children? They're not, because they weren't brought up in those. So that's what's going to take place. So now we will have a lot of more hopelessness in the classrooms and more frustrations in the classrooms, because now we can't give instruction to our teachers on how to better educate all students in our classroom. Now, you know how we are, because this is in our blood, you know. As a educator of color, if you will, we don't have the option to, well, I don't know how to teach white kids. I didn't have the option, you know what I'm saying? Just like we had to raise white babies, you know what I'm saying? My brother was growing up, we just did it, right? Because we knew how to do it, right? But that's not everybody's reality. I don't mean from this racist standpoint. I'm being transparent, because we got to be real, right? If we're going to attack this effectively. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I had some of my students who come to me, my usual, but where's Randi to mine? Because often through our initiatives and our movements, we concentrate on Black Americans here in the United States. Well, we had to be more cognizant, right? That we also have Afro in other communities and ethnicities as well. Again, one of my jobs is to help students of color or underrepresented or marginalized, to include LGBTQ, Jewish, whoever, poor white, to matriculate to college and universities, and not just state, but also Ivy League or top 20 national or liberal arts, right? Thank you. Here in Orange County and in Florida, where 51% of our schools are minority. So Governor just told 51% that they don't mind the state. We have a lot of Afro-Latino, Afro-Brazilian students in schools, right? They migrated to this country for a better life. Haitian students, more Caribbean students, right? We have in this state what we call bright futures. How many parents know about that? Bright futures, where if you get a certain score in SAT, ACT, right, a certain GPA, right, you can get your tuition paid for in a public university, correct? I have students who have 4.2, 4.5, 4.6, 4.8 GPAs. And because of their immigration status, now he's going anti-immigrant, anti-students of color, right? They will not be able to receive bright futures. After they've done all the community service, they did the right thing that we told them to do as students, right? Now persons that look like him, Roberto Clemente, who's now banned, right, in books, who are in our schools.
This book is banned. That's why I'm carrying around.
Who identified as himself as Afro-Hispanic, Afro-Latino, if you know none of the history. Our students won't be able to qualify for bright futures. So now every day, I am calling colleges. What can we do? What programs do you have? What scholarships do you have? Because my babies in my school won't be able to use bright futures anymore. They're real enough for you. This is what's happening already. Okay?
So, we're short on time, so I'm looking at my direction, and my direction says, what, one question from the audience? Is that what you're telling me? 2 questions from the audience. All right, who has a question? I can take 2 questions. There's one here. Do I have one more? One here. So go to the microphone. We got 2 questions, and then President Nweze will be wrapping this up. Oh. Okay.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Foxworth, the Education Chair from the Hillsborough County branch of NAACP. My question is very simple. After this conference, I want you to be able to tell the youth and us, our participants, what are our action and marching orders so we can continue the fight.
Anybody take the choice? I see Randi and Becky. Go ahead.
So I have no doubt that Madam President here will tell you what your charge is here in Florida and what you need to do. But as a parent, as a Floridian, as a human, you need to lift your voice up in every space and in every place you are. Whether you're in church, or you're in your synagogue, or you're in your mosque, whether you're standing in the line at the grocery store, wherever at your children's baseball games, wherever you are, you need to understand and be able to talk about the reality that public education is a common good in this country, that it is the foundation of this democracy. And you must do must to defend it, because if we don't, then we know we will no longer have a democracy. You have to understand exactly what is at stake and what they are trying to do. They are trying to make sure that we have an uneducated citizenry, so we can't stop them. Their march toward that unfettered power. So that's first. Second, you need to vote. You need to vote. You need to vote. And you need to get everyone who likes you or loves you or intends to keep living with you to vote too. Number three, you need to make sure that you not only use your voice, but you use your ability to reach out and bring others with you, because we know that it is only together, that power together, that we're going to get this done.
All of those things. It's where community becomes really important, because it's hard to do this alone. And so NEA, association of 3 million folks. We 1.7 million, but within the AFL-CIO, which is 12 million. Parents together, how many people? 3 million. NAACP, how many people? No, not just today. Nationwide. 2 million. So these, when we are with these associational groups, what we do, and we see it in church too, we see it in other places too, you see it in groups that, you know, whether it's basketball or whatever clubs or activities or hangouts that you have, that we're in community with each other. And within that community of each other, we have tremendous power together because of those relationships and that connectedness. And so in the labor movement, we have a little bit of a saying, which is, together we can accomplish what is impossible to do alone, which is part of the reason why they go after labor so much. That's why one of the bills that DeSantis is doing is trying to defund our union. So what I would actually say, in addition to what Becky said, is that when we then operate with joy together, my wife, the rabbi, says joy is an act of political and spiritual resistance. But when we like do this, we're gonna get in a joyful way, to read, to arm you with knowledge. But think about the kind of things, activities we can do that shows up in community over the course of the next few months to show him that he can't win. Because empathy is the tool of the autocrat. Giving up is the tool of the autocrat. So when we come together in community like the NAACP and we do these kind of things, just like Sundays, souls to the polls, marching to the polls together, look what he away in terms of voter suppression. So what I would suggest is just think through with your amazing state leadership both the youth that are here and the adults that are here. Actions, like we're doing in FEA, NEA, AFT, April 1st. Actions together that show him and he is trying to fear that he is not going to turn you around.
And real quick, I want to speak to the grandmas and the aunties and the mamas, right? Because one thing about Black and Hispanic culture, we love, right? When you go vote, make us go vote. The whole house go vote. Y'all know how y'all make us used to do, right? Everybody had to go to church. We didn't have an option growing up. Everybody went to church. You was gonna stay at your grandma's house, right? You went to church. So the same thing when it goes to voting. Black men and Hispanic men did not vote in Florida in the last election. That's the truth. And now we're mad and we're being reactive, as we should, but we did not go vote. Number two, pastors, let me talk to you. Take a Bible class night and go down to the school board meeting. You can't preach Christ without preaching liberation and restoration to our communities. All right, and to our church leaders and our teachers, instead of going to take a youth trip to Busch Gardens, take a trip up to Tallahassee and encourage your students. That's how. That's your marching orders. That's what we need to do.
Oh, just quickly, yeah, all of that. And then, you're giving out all these banned books today. Read them. Parents, read banned books with your kids. Get inspired. These stories are full of inspiration and of hope that is going to fuel us. And to parents, teachers are our allies, our partners in this, and so let's support them and work together with them to fight against all of this and build stronger bonds.
Question here.
My name is Abigail Rose. I am the State Assistant Secretary and the Secretary of the Marion County Youth Branch. As a ninth grader at North Marion High School that had to return a book recently, what about that?
What should she do because she had to return a banned book, right? That's
Yes.
the question.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's so inspiring to see you here today. You're already doing something about it, so congratulations.
It was a book about an African American Muslim woman.
And did you like the book?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is what I want us to do, because this is the power that we have in terms of books. Let's get a few copies of the book to you, and let you start a book club with that book. Create a community with that book. You start a book club, and then what we want you to do, and whether it's TikTok, Instagram, or just with me, I'm snail mail. Because I'm old. But let's then have some joy about that book and your book club that NEA will and we will. We'll get it all over the place in terms of your empowerment with a book that you love. They cannot take that away from you. We will make sure you get it.
Yes, ma'am. You had.
Just a quick question. My name is Althea from our NAACP. Educate our community more about this group, and also how can we form a parent group in Martin County, well, all over actually, because they're a very strong force in Martin County, the Moms for Liberty.
Yeah. And Moms for Liberty is there, and they are a vocal minority because most parents do not feel that way. Most parents want their children to have access to diverse, and at Parents Together, when we talk to them, we know that the vast majority of parents are with us. And so at Parents Together, we are educating parents about this. We are creating content that parents can share within their communities so that they can, so that other communities, other parents can hear about what they can do. And we should connect after this, and we can talk about how to get a parents group there. But you should follow us on Instagram and on social media. We have lots of tools and resources that we share with our families so that you can fight back.
All right. So let me close my part and then turn this over to President Adora. But I want to say on behalf of President Derrick Johnson and the 63 other members of our National Board of Directors, our 2,200 units across the nation, all of our members, thank you, panel, for your contributions. Thank you, AFT, NEA, for making sure that we can help create freedom libraries in communities across Florida. We truly appreciate all that you do for us, and we look forward to working together to do more so that we can stop this revisionism. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, each one of you. I am so proud of you coming here today and getting us started and educating us about next steps. So we are ready. We need you to stick with us. We need you, and we want you. And I want you to know that we are so appreciative, and this is only the first step. We really are ready to go. And we plan to make sure that this governor, last time in office. I want to begin this particular piece that I'm going to say to introduce you first to my great-grandson. He's the only great-grandchild that I have. He's 10 years old. He's in 5th grade. And he is an honor roll student and a professional baseball player, because he's that good. Wait a minute, you haven't heard it all. He's teaching himself 3 languages. He's doing it himself. His daddy is back there. He's a police officer, so you know he'll get me untruth. Where is Quentin? Quentin there? Where you?
He's over there.
Look at him in the back. Quentin, come this way. Quentin is a police officer. I just want him to, well, you don't tell police officers what to do.
Yeah, you tell Donald what to do. What is that?
Okay. Here's what you all to see what I'm doing, and the reason I'm doing this is so you'll model it, okay? And Quentin is bringing it. He's brought Quincy here today because Quincy is going to get his books. He has signed up as a life member of the NAACP, and he's bona fide. And I just want you to know that, and I want you to do the same thing with your family members. Thank you so much, Quentin. And we are going to have a discussion about next steps. All right, thank you. Okay. Let's give my family a hand. Yes. Next steps. Well, the first of next steps is going to be that because this session, legislative session, is not that long, when does it close? Macy, we're right there at the door. So what we're doing now is asking all of our NAACP branches, people in the branches that is, to organize, and then to organize groups that we partner with and those that we don't partner with in your community. We've got to ask you to organize your community. So why are you organizing your community? Is we're going to do what we do with the strategies we use to get the vote out. Phone calling, mailing, you know the routine. And those steps have to be activated, so I want you to start now getting ready and setting up the branch in a way that it will be as strong as possible to get all the people we can to go to the polls. Now, we're in a couple of lawsuits about voter registration. Well, one lawsuit for voter registration and another. wait a minute, let me shut my mouth. Where have been the lawsuits? This is our general counsel. She's the person that we ask about suing people. So she knows about the lawsuits that we're doing regarding getting the vote out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette McCarthy-Ross, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of being the General Counsel for the NAACP. As the wonderful Florida State Conference President, Adora Obi-Nwezi, has stated, we are in strong partnership with the Florida State Conference on filing various lawsuits. Voter suppression is real, and voter suppression is real right here in Florida. So we have filed numerous lawsuits involving voter suppression, and recently we just filed a lawsuit on the wet signature issue, where as a way to further disenfranchise Black and brown people, there is a requirement of having what's called a wet signature in order to vote. So we're working assiduously with this wonderful state conference, and we're asking you to partner with us. This would not happen if we had been able to turn out the vote. We would not have been in this situation. This is real. They say that every election is the most consequential election in our lifetime. I mean it. I mean it. We cannot say to ourselves, a year from now, 2 years from now, we got to go out there and protest when we didn't vote. So we have to do whatever we can to not only vote ourselves, but to get people to come with us. This is real people, not a fire drill. So once again, I want to thank the dynamic leader, our dynamic leader, the Florida State Conference, and all of you. And I want you to know that the Office of General Counsel stands ready to partner with the Florida State Conference to fight any effort of disenfranchisement. It is time for us to get real. It's time for us to vote. Thank you.
So much, General Counsel. I told the General Counsel, and she knows this. Every morning I wake up, after I say my prayers, I want to go to court. That's how many cases I know we need to file. And so I don't have no problems when you say you want to file a lawsuit. I want the teachers union to know that, and our president teachers union to know that we are ready to join you, because we've got to use the courts as well. And then, of course, in addition to all of it, please use communication. The news media is absolutely critical in you getting out the words that you're going to be using in terms of advocating for us in this state to be free. We've got chains on us now, but they got to go. And they got to go along with the governor. So let's be clear about what we're saying. We are going to be the ones that make sure, through all of the partners we know in our community, and including our families, and we can do this. We've done it before. This is not new for us. We just have to be re-energized, communicating through the news media so that we can let people know what they need to do. Now, before I sit down, are there any questions from any branch people or anyone else of me? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to run? Are you ready to run? Are you ready to organize? Are you ready to organize? Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to vote?
All right.
Thank you so much.